In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a top coat on a ring stand. This particular ring stand is going to a customer. The mold I've used multiple times, and I like to try to save on molds where I can. So as you can see in that image, the mold was pretty dull. You're going to need a 3-ounce disposable cup. You do want to make sure the bottom of the cup has a ridge on it, because that will be important when you place the elevator on it. The next thing you're going to need is something to give you space between your actual ring stand and the cup, so that way any drips don't pool around the bottom of your ring stand. I've used here a sphere stand. I got it off of Amazon, and the reason I like this one is because it's actually the perfect size for the bottom of the disposable cup, and it just actually pops right in there, and it will be solid, it won't fall out, it doesn't move. The next thing you're going to need is an item called Simply Tacky. You can find this at Hobby Lobby. This reminds me of the materials that teachers used to use to hang posters in the classroom so it wouldn't damage the walls. The good thing about that is it's reusable. And then you're going to need to use just some UV tape or whatever tape you normally use to tape off your pieces. So the first step that I'm doing is I'm going to actually take a piece of tape and cover the bottom of my piece, because I don't want any of those drips sticking to the very bottom. So the first step is to actually put the tape on the bottom. So you're going to see me smoothing that tape around on the bottom of the ring stand, making sure that that tape is nice and flush. And here in just a moment, you want to trim any excess tape off the bottom of the ring stand, just so that way you have a nice thin layer of protecting tape to keep any drips from sticking to the bottom. This will alleviate you from having to sand the drips off and recoating the bottom of the ring stand. So I'm just going to cut the excess off, and then here in a moment I will go back in with my X-Acto knife to get much closer and a clean cut on any tape that is not sticking to the bottom. So now what I'm doing is I'm just rubbing that tape as hard as I can onto the bottom of the piece. Definitely taking the time to make sure that the tape is pressed against the edges to prevent any resin from dripping between the tape and the bottom of the piece. So make sure that that's smooth and pressed down really well. Now we're going to actually prep your drip cup. So again, you're going to use your sphere stand. The top of the sphere stand is concave, whereas the bottom is a smooth, flat surface. So you're actually going to place the sphere stand upside down to where the smooth, flat surface is facing you. And I'm just going to pop that right down in there. So you can see that the edges of the sphere stand actually sit nicely in the cup, and it's not going to move. The next step is you're going to actually cover the drip cup and the sphere stand with more tape. The reason you want to do this is as any drips fall from top coating, you want to actually protect that sphere stand so that way nothing sticks to it, so you can reuse it and it's still a flat surface. So I'm just draping the tape over the sphere stand, letting it fall onto the cup, and then pressing the tape to the cup so that way the drips can just continue to fall down onto the tape and then onto my drip tray. So now we're going to start using the Simply Tacky. So I actually have an open package, so I'm just using from that before I open the new one. The good thing about this Simply Tacky stuff is that it is completely reusable. So whatever you can salvage from doing a previous top coat, you can just peel that off, reuse it, so it will actually last you a good while to be able to be reusable. What I'm doing right now is I'm just taking some of the sticky taff or the Simply Tacky and just working it between my hands and my fingers, trying to warm it up just a little bit so it becomes a little bit more pliable. And I'm actually trying to shape it into a cube-like structure. So because this mold is a little bit bigger than the smaller ring stand, I'm going to use a little bit more of the Simply Tacky. So again, just warming that up, stick that right to it, and I'm going to work it together to where it's all one piece, and it will be shaped into a cube, and you'll see that here in just a moment. So that looks good enough. I feel like it's going to give me enough space between the bottom of the ring stand and the tape, so that way none of the resin should pool around the bottom of the ring stand as you top coat it. So what I'm doing now is just sticking that cube of Simply Tacky on top of that resin tape, making sure that I've got plenty of space for the drips to fall, and then down onto the resin tape. And you can see that it's holding on there nicely. And all that is left is to take your ring stand. Again, make sure you have it taped off on the bottom. I did miss a spot, so I'm just going back and cleaning up here real quick. There was a little tiny piece of tape stuck on there, so I'm just getting that off. And then all you're going to do is sit the ring stand on top of that, and you're going to apply just a little bit of pressure to get the bonding of the tape to the Simply Tacky. Now, it's not going to be foolproof. You're going to see this fall off here in just a second. Look right there. So it's not fully sticky, but it's enough stickiness to hold it in place and allow you to pour your top coat over it. And that is what my setup looks like. I will be doing a video of actually top coating this piece, but I'll be doing that later this evening, so I'm going to get a video of the actual pour. I hope this helps.